All right, welcome. Today we are diving into a cosmic gamble of truly epic proportions. It's called the Sapphire Wager. And this isn't just a story, you guys. This is a high-stakes negotiation for the fate of a single human soul. So let's just start with a question that kind of frames this whole thing. I mean, just imagine for a second, what if the highest powers in existence, both light and shadow, decided to place a bet, and your very essence was the jackpot? Our story kicks off not on Earth, but way, way up in the crystalline courts of the seventh heaven. Now, this is a place where light isn't just something you see, it's something you feel, like an unshakable law. And right now, a pretty serious debate is already underway. So here you have the archangels, these pillars of divine order, and they're deeply troubled. They're not just talking about humanity's little flaws either. No, they're questioning the very nature of free will itself and, whether this whole creation thing is starting to fail. Gabriel, the herald, he puts it out there directly. He sees humanity just lost in this darkness they've created for themselves. And he's basically asking, hey, is it time for another big divine intervention to get them back on track? But then Michael, the warrior, he pushes back with this really powerful argument. He says, a map is totally useless if the traveler won't even walk the path. For humanity's choices to mean anything at all, the struggle, the striving, it has to be their own. Uriel the Watcher adds another layer to this. He sees that as humanity gets smarter, as they become more aware, they've turned into this walking paradox. They can see what's good, but they still choose what's bad. They're living, breathing contradictions. And Raphael, the healer, he gives it a diagnosis. He basically describes the human soul as this constant battlefield completely torn between its own identity, what he calls the I, and every single temptation, every external force, every limitation that makes it the not I. So into this perfect, orderly, and let's be honest, super serious debate, an agent of chaos shows up completely unannounced. A being whose entire purpose is to challenge the very foundations of their divine logic. All of a sudden, the eternal, perfect light gets disturbed. But it's not darkness. Not really. It's more like a shifting, iridescent gray. It's a presence that's neither one thing nor the other, and it brings this ambiguity into a realm that's built on absolutes. And out of this ripple steps Mephistopheles. He's dressed like a scholar, but has the grin of a jester. He basically calls their heavenly choir practice boring and proposes something way more fun. A wager. A real test, Let's see if this divine image of yours actually shatters when you apply a little pressure. And he doesn't just propose the bet, he actually steps into the role of high mediator, positioning himself right between the archangels and this infernal portal, where the seven princes of hell are watching, just hungry. And then he lays down the terms of the game. Okay, let's really dig into this, because this self-definition is the key to everything. He's not just pure evil. Think of him more like cosmic friction. He's that necessary opposition that forces creation to prove its own worth. By tempting, by testing, by being the no to heaven's yes, he paradoxically becomes an engine for good. It's a fantastic concept. So, the bet isn't going to be on all of humanity. Nope, it's going to focus on one single, exceptional soul. Someone who isn't satisfied with the answers they've been given. A Zarathustra of the mind who dares to create their own meaning and define their own I right in the face of a meaningless void. So what are the rules for this little game? This is where Mephistopheles, as the mediator, makes things perfectly, and I mean dangerously, clear. It's simple. The two sides can influence, but they absolutely cannot control. Heaven gets to offer the Anstoß, a divine spark, a whisper to the conscience. And hell? Well, hell gets to offer the not I. Every external pleasure, every bit of power, every distraction you can possibly imagine. Now, what's so fascinating here is that this wager is set up like a perfect scientific experiment. Both sides can poke and prod, but the one unbreakable law, the high decree, is that the soul's absolute freedom must be respected. No direct meddling, no coercion. Period. Right, so that immediately brings up a huge question. If both sides are ridiculously powerful and have everything to gain, who in the universe could possibly act as an impartial referee to make sure they don't cheat? And this is just the genius of the whole design. The referee is also a player. Mephistopheles himself wins the soul if either side breaks the rules. That makes him the perfect, self-interested enforcer of fairness. He wins if they cheat. The soul, as he puts it, becomes the eternal punchline to his cosmic comedy. Incredible. So, with the terms set, the stakes understood, and the totally incorruptible referee in place, the great powers of the cosmos give their consent. The game is officially on. The voice of silence, speaking for the Most High, agrees. And this isn't a promise of perfection. It's really an expression of this profound faith that even when a good person gets lost in the dark, some innate moral compass will eventually, always, point them back home. Lucifer, speaking for all the infernal princes, accepts with this chilling confidence. He frames the whole conflict perfectly. It's a test to see if a person's inner moral path is stronger than the ultimate external temptation, absolute, untethered power. And with that, Mephistopheles, the jester who set this entire grand, terrible machine in motion, declares the cosmic comedy officially open, and the stage shifts from the heavens all the way down to Earth. So here's the bottom line. What started as a high-minded debate has now become a real-world test. A cosmic wager has been struck, and one single, totally unaware human's free will is now the battleground for the greatest powers in all of existence. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In this massive game between our inner striving and all the external temptations, between the I and the not I, where would you place your bet? On the divine map, the infernal prize, or on the absolute freedom of the traveler to find their own way?